Rocky.
Hey guys, it's Rocky here, and thank you for tuning in to my channel as always and being patient because I know I haven't posted a video recently, especially around Korean things and learning Korean and progressing in my Korean, simply because I haven't studied Korean in like months. When I left Korea back in June, I really haven't been up to studying or really felt motivated to study and progress in my Korean, so I haven't made a video. I don't want to give false, information and like make a whole big deal about this is what you should do next and this is some good study tips if I'm not studying myself. I like it when I study and you guys can follow along with me in my journey. So nonetheless, I'm back with a video because I had an issue about where to go next with my studying. You want to progress in your Korean. You want to go from like a first grader level Korean at least to some point in like middle school or high school Korean level. So when you hit intermediate stages, sometimes it gets challenging because besides your books that you're using, it's gonna be like, okay, I need words for conversation. And that was my issue. That's still my issue now. When I was in Korea, I can speak Korean pretty well. I feel comfortable when I do speak if I know what I'm saying, but I felt like I couldn't have conversations or things that I really wanted to talk about that was the top of my head because I didn't know the vocabulary for it. So nonetheless, I decided to now get back into my Korean, and I found a better strategy now moving forward that I want to share with you guys because a lot of you were on my Instagram and you were watching my live chat about my new study plan. So I decided to go ahead and make a video of the same chat and give you guys a new rundown of how I'm learning Korean without classes. For those of you who do follow me on Instagram and you did watch my live video, I did also post this picture. I don't know if you guys can see it that well, but I did make this picture and post it on Instagram for you guys. I'll also put a link down below in the sub box, so don't worry. But I pretty much made a chart for myself to figure out, okay, what do I need to do now moving forward in my Korean. So go ahead right now, grab your pen, grab your paper, or whatever you use to write notes so you can write this chart down as I'm talking, and hopefully it's useful for a lot of you out there who are watching. First things first, where do you currently stand in your Korean? Like what's your level? Are you currently a beginner, advanced beginner, intermediate? You need to understand where you currently are honestly in your Korean so you know where to move forward to. Once you figure that out, you need to now write on your chart your strengths and your current weaknesses. I think it's a good idea to separate the two where you currently stand because sometimes when you use certain resources, websites, apps, or textbooks that you do purchase or borrow or whatever, you tend to like already touch up on a lot of your strengths or things you already know. I'm not getting a chance to enhance the things I don't know. One of my weaknesses that I want to work on is lack of vocabulary. And in that weakness, that means I have a hard time having full conversation or having conversation of things I want to say or that I'm feeling with another Korean person or Korean friend. Once you figure out what are some of your weaknesses right now, a good thing to do is figure out, okay, what's your current goal? Realistic goals. So one of my goals is to have advanced conversational skills for everyday use. So I can speak to any Korean I see and talk about whatever we're talking about, school, my life, something that made me upset, emotions, anything. I can describe whatever I'm feeling or touching in the conversations. Okay, now it's time to start putting everything we just did together, right? You wrote down to yourself, where do you currently stand in your Korean? You also decided to separate your strengths and some of your current weaknesses that you need to fix or adhere to. And then you went ahead and decide, okay, then what are my current goals? Once you have down your current goals and your weaknesses, now you need to think of a plan of how can you pretty much achieve that goal while attending those weaknesses. So if one of my weaknesses is lack of vocabulary and my goal is to have advanced conversational skills,
how do I achieve that? What do I do?
Simple, gain more vocabulary. So I decided to, I need to gain more vocabulary, maybe specific vocabulary that's going to be useful in these conversations. So I need to learn more verbs, more adjectives, more emotions, expressions. Words that I often use in conversation. So I plan to create my own vocab packet. You get vocabulary words in whatever resources you use, but sometimes they're like random, like I'll have books, I'll have like umbrella, watch, and CEO. I'm not saying they're not important to know, but like they're not useful for me at this point right now to have a conversation with a Korean person. Here's a good idea. Write a journal of your feelings or thoughts of whatever you would like to talk about, but in English. So let's pick a subject like school. You're probably going to talk to someone in Korean about school, college, or classes. So for me, I would write in English a paragraph like, I love school, but sometimes it can be very difficult. My major is industrial engineering and it's a lot of work. I go to school and work part-time, so I'm usually very busy. You get the point. Whatever I would say on my mind casually in English, those are the words of what I want to write or say in Korean. So I'll then pick and choose between those words, what I don't know in my English, and make sure I learn what those words are in Korean and practice those. So when I do have a conversation and a Korean person is like, okay, what are you doing right now? Are you a college student? How do you like it? Or why are you here in Korea studying? I'm able to say those things because I learned those specific words already. One thing I realized with learning Korean and moving forward in my study is that you really need to understand what's useful for you to learn and what's not useful for you to learn. I'm not saying there's certain words that's not important. I'm just saying it may not be useful for you at this point in time. You may learn something, maybe an adjective or object or whatever, and you're never usually going to use that word. And now, instead of learning words that you can use in conversation with new Koreans you never met, Koreans at your school, or Korean friend or pen pal, you're learning things that's not useful, so you can't have those full conversations as much as you want. And that's pretty much it. So I hope that this video is useful for someone out there watching. Thank you again, as usual, for tuning in and being patient with me and with this channel, because a lot is going on. I do plan on doing more videos moving forward with learning Korean, and I'm going to start speaking more Korean in my videos because I need that for myself, and talk about more fun, bubbly, cool things in Korean, and maybe some more Korean storytime videos. But nonetheless, let me know if you have any questions or any other videos or specific topics that you guys feel like you would like me to do a video on. I have no problem doing that. And don't forget to hit that like button and to subscribe if you haven't already. Stay tuned for more video, guys, and annyeong! Annyeong!